drill, mock test, they will take measures, which is it is not a big problem with respect to that, right? Because of which nothing will happen, nothing dangerous will happen. But in the first case, what happens? Actually, there is a effect, but they are rejecting no, nothing like that. Right? So that's why which one is more important in this context? Type 1 error. I hope that is clear. Right. Next, the example what we took. So here actually what the method what I am following with respect to testing of hypothesis is instead of introducing the concepts related discussion, what I propose is I will take an example, then we'll see how to deal with this case, right? I think the examples what we have seen are already discussed in the previous class, right? Just to understand the scenarios. If you see here, now we'll see the process how to do this. A telecom service provider claims that an individual customer pay on an average 400 rupees per month with a standard deviation of 20%. So I think from this what we understand, right? So whatever the claim they say, whatever the hypothesis they mention is related to population, right? They are talking about their product, right? They are talking about the population, right? Right? So that first we need to identify, right? I hope that's clear, right? So this is something they are claiming or their hypothesis, that is the average amount their customers pay or spend per month is 400 with the standard deviation of 20%. To validate this, what we have done is we did the sampling. Right? A sample with 50 customers. Right? We took a sample with 50 customers where we got X bar as 250 and S as 50. So hypothesis, then that is related to population. Then we had the sampling and we had sampling outcome. What is the next step? So how we want to validate now whether the sampling outcome is true or not, whether it validates, whether it considers what they claim or not. So this is what we call as testing of hypothesis. So what to do here? If you remember the previous cases, here what are the things we have to consider when we deal with problems of this kind? First thing what we have to do is whether we are doing this assumption as well as sampling where mean plays a major role. Right? If you see this in this case, mean is playing a major role. Next, second example, same. I think I skip this one. Second, if you see here also the mean, right? But only thing here is, I think we'll take it again. The only assumption is at least 400 per month, and similar kind of sampling here, and we have to validate it. Second one. Third one is this. Right? So what is the claim here? What is the claim here? This is the claim, that is the customers are moving towards online shopping even to buy the groceries, vegetables, etc. So this is based on the sampling where they had a sample with 850 customers, out of which 400 opted for online shopping of vegetables. Right? This is some assumption related to population, and then we took a sample with the 850 customers, out of which 400 are preferring or going for online purchasing. Right? So what is the difference between the previous two problems and this problem? There, same process where when they take the sample, when they had the population, mean is the main thing, right? Based on mean, we are arriving at the conclusion. In this case, this is not the mean yet. Nowhere we use the mean. It is called as proportion. It is called as proportion vertical. Can you guess? Can you try to recall some examples where we use this kind of uh, ideas to arrive at a conclusion? Any example of your own where we use this kind, out of this many people this happened, because of which it happened, something like this? Any example? Can you think of? Can you think any example of this kind? I will explain on type 1, type 2 later. Hmm? That false positive, false negative, I will explain. I am recording. Yeah. Just I am checking the income tax, election results. Yes, 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 yes. Many examples are there. Hmm? Number of births, number of lines are very simple, like they, we generally I think we claim, right? So I wrote 1 lakh lines of code till now, so may, and out of it just only 10 bucks their people identified. 10 bucks only identified. That means I am very good at coding, right? You will claim that I am very good at coding. That means claim related to population. Then you will support it with the sample, that is out of 1 lakh lines of code that I wrote, only 25 bucks that QA team identified. Okay. This is called as proportion. You are doing the testing of hypothesis where proportion is the base. So 400 out of 850, then we'll try to do it for the population. Okay. This is another kind of testing of hypothesis. Right? Like this we have, suppose the same, I think maybe going for it, but still, if you see here, here 2 teams we are going to compare, team A and team B. So here you see which team is performing well, then we had, that means 2 populations we had, population A and population B. So for that what we had done, we took one sample from population, other sample from other population, where if you see, again here we use proportions. This is proportion related to team A and this is proportion related to team B, right? So that means here if you see what is the difference between the previous one and this one, here it is related to one proportion, one population, one sample and one proportion. What comes here? The 2 populations come, we want to compare the 2 populations, then we have 2 samples, and in the 2 samples also what is the measure that we are using, that is nothing but proportion. That means it is called 2 proportions problem. This I think. Now if you see this, it comes under what we discussed, mean and proportion, right? It comes under what? It is also again proportion, but here it contains many proportions. That means here you see, out of 1500, 700 are smokers, 800 are non-smokers, 700 are with cancer patients, 800 are cancer patients, like this. Similarly, out of 700 smokers, 400 are having cancer. So based on all these proportions, we want to estimate or we want to validate whether smoking causes cancer or not. Okay. So this, it is also like 700 out of 1500, 400 out of 700, like this. This is also proportion, but it comes under several proportions. Okay. So these are the scenarios mostly we are going to deal with. This is a broader idea. Now we'll have just to overview of this, then we'll go to the previous problem and we'll try to solve it. This is how I want to do, instead of doing everything separately, discuss one mean problem and do the problem and so on. This is overview. So generally we deal with testing of hypothesis, right? So where we'll have mean related discussions and proportions related discussions. Now I think it is very clear how to identify it is mean related, how to identify that is proportions related, where you had sampling and hypothesis where you have average or mean. Mean is the center in the discussion, then it comes under mean. If it is proportions like what we have seen 40 out of 500, 20 out of 200 kind of thing, then it comes as proportions. Okay. So again, if it is a mean, then we have, is it related to one mean or is it related to two means? What does it mean? What is the meaning of this categorization? Yeah, very good example, sir. What is the what does it mean? One mean problem is what we have seen at the beginning, right? We had one population, one assumption related to population. We took one sample, then we find the sample mean, then we try to validate. Right? That is one mean. Two means what is two means related discussion? Two means you had two populations. You had one population, another population. That means very simple. Product A is superior than product B, right? Or if you say team A is better than team B, class A is very good in comparison with class B. Right? That means here we are having a hypothesis related to two populations and where we use mean here. That's why it is called as two means problem. I hope that's clear. Right? Similarly, as seen, I think proportions already what we saw, one proportion, right? So one proportion problem, two proportions problem, several proportions problem. So like this, we have to come down the tree. If we again suppose if it is one mean related discussion, then again two things comes into picture. That it is whether our discussion is based on a sample which is large or small. So in what way this helps us is depending on smaller or larger sample related distribution. Accordingly, we select the distributions which helps us to validate the hypothesis. Right? I hope that's clear. Right? In everywhere it is large, you will have Z distribution. Small, then we have T distribution. Here also the same, except the last one. If it is several proportions related discussion, then we have to go for a new distribution that is called a chi-square distribution. Okay. I hope that is clear. Then once it is clear, then what is the formula we have to use? That's very simple actually. So that discussion we'll have later. Then we'll go back to the. Then what is the process? What are the steps that we follow when we validate the hypothesis? Now this is the problem. Right. Now immediately that overview comes into our mind. So that means now is this a testing of hypothesis? Then we have mean and proportions. And this comes under what? Because here if you see the term average, right? It goes with mean. Next, once it is a mean, then we'll see whether it is a one mean problem or two means problem. Here the entire discussion is related to one population and one sample, one mean, right? So it comes down with one mean. Again, when it is one mean, we have two discussions. One is large sample or smaller sample. So what can we say with respect to the sample? Because here the size of the sample is 50, right? Large sample, yeah, perfect. So that means Z distribution is the one which we have to use, right? Z distribution is the one which. So like this, we have to come down. Then it becomes there are not two means here, not two means. Like this, if you see, then we come down and we arrive at okay, this is the one which we have to use. This is the one. Alright, that I will explain. How to differentiate between large sample and small sample. That is based on the size of the sample. What is the base for that? 30 actually. 30 is the boundary. So greater than 30, then it is a large sample. Then if it is less than, then it is small sample. If there are 400 customers, then no, it is not small. It is larger. 400 means n equal to 400. Therefore, it is larger population. Larger sample. Large sample. Some query why 2 means, if you remember this discussion, one mean is related to the entire population, other mean is related to sampling. I think if you remember, this is something like it is when you cook the rice, this. So the assumption is the rice is completely boiled. Is the assumption. To validate this, what mother or we do is we take a part of some grains, we check curries also. So that is nothing but sampling, right? Then if we this sampling, whatever the part we took is completely boiled, then this is sample outcome. Then based on the sample outcome, we say this the vegetable is ready to eat. Then we will stop cooking. Right? This process is what we are doing here. So this is the assumption, that is the item is completely boiled. Then we will take a sample with some grains. Then validate it. Yes, it is completely boiled. Therefore, the population is completely boiled. If it is not, yes, it is not boiled. Let us continue further. So the same approach we are using here also. So that's why we have two means comes into picture. One is the larger population related mean, and other one is the sample related mean. Right? I hope that now it became very clear, right? So immediately, let me go back and see. So here, whenever we see that the discussion simply testing of hypothesis, right? Testing of hypothesis, the problem related to mean only, right? Then immediately we see whether we have two population, two means kind of discussion in the discussion, right? So only one mean. If one means, immediately we'll see what is the distribution we have to use. Then we'll see large sample or small sample. So large sample. If large sample, what to do? Then this is the one we have to use. Like this, we have to do the testing of hypothesis. This is an overview of the process. Then we'll see some problems. Maybe sometimes it looks like difficult, but it is very easy. So first thing what we have to do is, we have to identify what is the null hypothesis. H0 is called as null hypothesis. Null hypothesis means what is the statement that we are going to validate. What is the claim that we are going to validate? That is called as null hypothesis. Now if you see this problem, what is the null hypothesis? Average is 400 rupees per month. That means this average means this is the mean of the population. Generally, assumption is with respect to population only. So mean equal to 400. If it is wrong, then what is the conclusion? If it is wrong, suppose finally we assume we concluded saying that mu equal to 400 is wrong. That means this. That is mu is not equal to 400. Right? So there is called as alternative hypothesis. This is called as null hypothesis, and this is called as alternative hypothesis. Right. So mu is not equal to 400 means what? It can be greater than 400 or it can be less than 400, right? Right. Okay. It can be mu not equal to 400 means it can be greater than 400 or it can be less than 400. Therefore, we say it falls under two-tailed test. And already we had the discussion. What is the discussion what we had? For this problem, what is the distribution we have to use? We have to use Z distribution, where Z equal to x bar minus mu sigma by root n. That means we have to use Z distribution. It is not P distribution. Okay. Next comes is as we discussed, whenever we talk about estimation, we have to talk about level of confidence as well as level of significance, right? That is alpha, right? That alpha, whether you have to fix it while doing this testing of hypothesis. Suppose for this case, I assumed or I considered level of significance as 5%. That means what? So the entire testing of hypothesis I am doing with 95% confidence. Clear? I hope that is clear. So then what we have to do is, now if you see here as we discussed. Now this is 0.95, right? This is 0.95, right? This is 0.95. So I'm confident that it lies here. That is with 95% confidence that it is correct, right? Now leftover 5% is there, right? That is called as level of significance. Because it is two-tailed test, we have to distribute this to left as well as right. That means here this 5% means 0.05. Then I have to divide it. Then it comes here. So now what we have to do, because it is Z distribution, we have to take the help of normal distribution tables to find out these values. Okay, so that is the important step here. But for us already defined values are there which we can use. Otherwise, this is important for us to find. Right? For this level of significance or for this level of confidence, what is Z? What are Z values or what is Z value? How to find this? I think let me go back to normal distribution. Now if you see here, I think this is the one already what we discussed. Now if you see here, 2.1, right? 2.1 is Z value, right? This is 2.1. Then the corresponding area under the normal curve or probability is 0.98214, right? 0.98214, right? That means this area under the normal curve or total probability here under this region is 0.98214. Then if you see reverse, 0.98214 is the probability, then corresponding Z value is 2.1. That means in the previous case what we did, whenever Z is given we try to find probability. Now in this case what we have to look for is when the probabilities are given we have to find Z values. I hope that is clear. It's not like me. Right? So now because here we know alpha and 1 minus alpha, that means we know the area under the normal curve, that means we know the probabilities, then we have to find Z values. We'll go back to the this one, right? So how we do is, now you know this is 0.95, right? And this is 0.05 by 2. So summing, find total here. What is the total probability till this area? This area. 0.95, the critical region, and this tail. Because if you remember, this is how we use normal distribution tables, right? Now from normal distribution tables, we have to check for what is the Z value corresponding to this probability. Then it is 1.96. We'll see once again, right? 1.96. Now what about left? Because both are symmetric, if it is 1.96, here also it is minus 1.96. This is how we have to find the region of, then what we say is this, the region between minus 1.96 and plus 1.96 is called as region of acceptance. This is called as acceptance region. or critical region, what we call as. The outside of this is called as region of rejection. Now what we have to do is, now once we are very clear about this, then these are the values available with us, all given in the problem. N equal to 50, x bar is 250, s equal to 50. N is means size of the sample, mean of the sample, standard deviation of the sample. Then this is the formula we use, x bar minus mu by sigma by root. This we calculate. Suppose I am not saying exact value. Suppose this is 0.18. Suppose this is 0.18. Then we see, so where this 0.18 lies in this critical region, inside, right? Somewhere here. That means it lies in the region of acceptance. That means whatever the claim they made is true. This is fact. Accept the null hypothesis. Yes. Suppose this value is 2.5. This value is 2.5. Then what is the conclusion we can draw? Then we see where this 2.5 lies. It is 1.96, and we have to go further. That means we have to move towards the region of rejection, right? Therefore, the claim is rejected. So, are you able to understand the process? Now it becomes clear when we go further by taking one or two examples. Just try to understand the entire process of doing this testing of hypothesis. So if you understand this process of doing testing of hypothesis, then it becomes very simple. If you go through one or two examples, then you will understand like this, because almost all the same process we follow when we consider some of the problems. Just try to understand what is the process related to this testing of hypothesis. If you are clear with this, then very simple. If you follow that overview what we had, can you just, if any, so now when you just go through it and understand how the testing of hypothesis is done. Any doubts? Like, because once you understand this process, it's very simple to do any problem. Any doubts that you have? I'll explain what is two-tailed test. Very good, that I'll explain. So the voice is clear now. Why this is a two-tailed test? Yes, perfectly I'll tell. Yeah. How did you get 95%? That is, we define actually. That means I am doing this entire exercise with 95% confidence. That is, whatever the claim that they are saying, I am rejecting it with 95% confidence. That I am sure that he is going to fail. I am sure that this film is going to fail. It shows the confidence that alpha is nothing but the leftover. That is 1 minus. That means level of significance. So this how we get means generally whenever we do this exercise of testing of hypothesis, you have to define it at what level you are doing this entire exercise, 1%, 5%, like this, depending on the application that are the data that you are working with. Sometimes what I am just 10% of the leverage I can take, 10% of error is also fine for me. Then you can work with 90% confidence level. If it is something like it is related to some space applications or medical applications, generally we look for 99% of confidence rate. Then the alpha is 1%. Like this, we need to choose or we have to fix it. X bar comes as 250. This is from problem actually. Now once we are very clear, then we'll go back and see all the values whatever we had, right? So this is related to population. So therefore this is mu. This is mu, and this is sigma. Because this entire para is related to population. Now this second para is with respect to sample, right? This is size of the sample n, and this is mean of the sample, that is x bar. This is SG of sample, that is S. Right? Like this, we got these values. Yeah, good. No, don't be scared of. I'll explain many problems. Like I'll share many of the problems. So that, but I'm not saying that you have to do many problems. Do the problems until you get the confidence, until you understand the process. Yeah, alpha is 5% is what we choose. That means I am doing this entire rejection or acceptance with 95% level of confidence, right? It is not okay. Well, Shiv, I will let maybe after you just if you are confident, then we'll take one problem. We'll take different alphas and see what is the decision we take. I think we can later stage we can do it. 1.96 I'll explain. How we get these values, I'll explain. Yeah, we can use, that is what we use, right? 25 is the what we got. 15 actually, right? Sorry. I think here this is a typo. This has to be 15, right? No, right, sorry. It is sigma only. But sometimes what happens is if sigma is not available with their data, then we can use this. That is, I think I forgot to mention. In this case, this sigma is available in the given problem, it is 25. If it is not given, sometimes if it is not available, then you can use it actually. Then you can use in place of this 25, you can use 15. Right? That means whenever sigma is not available, you can replace it with the help of S. So thank you for just making this point. The 1.96 I will explain. Accepting the claim is this is right. The entire process or exercise what we have done to validate this. Right? This. That is the average life of the product is 400. Then finally, if it is 0.18, I'm not calculated. Suppose it is 0.18, then it is falling in the region of acceptance. That means accept it. Accept means whatever you claim, I am super. That is claim. It is excellent. Yes, claim. Right? So that means here in this case, mu equal to 400 is claim which is perfect based on our sampling outcomes at 5% of significance. Right? So what they are saying is average is 400, but our sample says 250. But after doing this, what we say is yes, whatever they say is perfect. It is correct to proceed further. Okay. If it is 2.5, which falls outside this acceptance region, then we say no, boss, whatever you claimed is wrong. Your average is not 400. It is not equal to 400. It may be greater than or it may be less than. We are least more than. What we say is whatever you say is wrong. So some of the points I will small how LOS is defined. That is same like type 1 error what we discussed. It is not defined actually. We have to choose it. It's very easy to understand. That is, whenever you say a claim, we say 95% chance that I will get this project. That is, whenever we assume, whenever we foresee, whenever we had a hypothesis, always in general we carry some kind of percentage, right? Right? So 99% chance that next time I'll get promotion. Right? So I get the promotion is assumption, hypothesis, and 99% is that it denotes the confidence. 99% chance that you will get the promotion, 1% chance that you will not get the promotion. That is LOS. That is alpha. So how we define is we have to choose and we have to take account. But in general, in most of the applications, most of the exercises, what I observed is it is 99%, 95, and 90 are the generally used confidence levels. I think I hope that this 5% is very clear now. I think 1.96 I will get back to you. Standard deviation, either standard deviation of the population or the sample, at least any one of these two values we need to have, then only we can do this, otherwise we can't do it. Need not be sigma always. Whenever sigma is not there, then we have some assumptions. By using this, sigma can be approximated with the help of S. So S can be used. Significance means the same. So whatever the decision I am taking with 95% confidence. So that means the LOIS is 5%. That is the significance of this the 5% what we have taken. How we get 1.96 I will explain. I hope that you got this because most of the messages related to this only. How we got 5%. Can you please explain same terms on how the X value? I will explain, no issue. Yeah, I will explain. Yeah. So just because after seeing some of the after seeing some of the messages, like I want to repeat. My intention is just if we are able to understand one problem, then slowly we'll get into any problem of any kind what we discussed in the overview. Okay. So maybe those who understood, then who are comfortable with this discussion, fine. Otherwise, also bear for some time so that I will repeat the entire process again. So don't think, otherwise don't feel bored. I'll repeat the process because once you understand one problem, it is enough. Now what we do here is so here. So if you see, this is the claim that they mentioned they had. Right? So what is that they have mentioned? The mean of their product. Product means that customer pay 400 rupees per month. The standard deviation of 25. So first thing what we have to identify is what is the claim. I repeat, claim is always related to population. Claim is always related to a larger picture. So then we see here this whatever 425 both are related to population. That means one is this is mean of the population. 400 is mean, average they mentioned, that is mu, and this 25 is sigma. So next comes the samples. This is the information related to sample. They have took a sample of 50, that means n is 50, and they calculate mean of the sample where it is 250, that is x bar. It is x bar, and standard deviation of the sample in general we denote by s. So these are the informations or the values y got. So now we'll try to correlate. We try to validate the claim made based on the sampling outcome. Very simple. Now for the sample we got 250 with standard deviation of 15, and they are saying 400 with 25. Whether it is okay or not, that is what we are going to do. It's clear. So in doing so, first thing what we have to do is we identify what is the hypothesis or claim we are validating. So if you remember here, and again I repeat, claim is always related to population. Maybe population mean, or it may be population proportion, or it may be population variance also related. So that means what is that we are validating mu equal to 400, right? That is what we call as null hypothesis. This is null hypothesis. One minute. So mu equal to 400, right? That is the null hypothesis. So it is simple as I claim I am very good. That is a hypothesis. Finally, after enquiry, everything you find that I am very, whatever I claim I am very good is fine, then okay. And based on the inputs that you have taken from all the sources, you find that I am not good. That means my claim is false, right? Then what is the conclusion? My claim is I am very good, but what you say is you are not good. That is called as alternative hypothesis. Okay. So whenever null hypothesis fails, what is the alternate? So here it is here. Mu equal to 400 is the claim or the hypothesis we are going to validate. If it is okay, then fine. Otherwise, what is the alternate at the conclusion? Alternate conclusion we made. Whatever boss, whatever you say is wrong. That means here mu is not equal to 400. Right? Now, based on this is very important for us. Based on alternative hypothesis, we say whether it is a two-tailed approach or one-tailed approach. Now the question here is how we arrive at this. Suppose here in this case mu is not equal to 400. That means mu can be greater than 400 or less than 400. That's why it is called as two-tailed test. Suppose our alternative hypothesis is mu greater than 400. Suppose. Then what we say? Suppose this alternative hypothesis is mu greater than 400. That means it is only one-sided, right? Greater than or equal to 400 or less than 400. That means then it is called as one-tailed test or one-sided test. Because it is greater than 400, then we call it as right-tailed test. Otherwise, we call it as left-tailed test. I hope that is clear, right? So this is important for us to understand and arrive at the acceptance region, rejection region of rejection. So now I think I hope that these 2 points are clear. Immediately after this, then we decide whether it is two-tailed test or one-tailed test. Then already we had the discussion where this is a small, not a small sample, it is a big sample because 15 is greater than 30. Therefore, we go for Z distribution. We go for Z distribution. Then what we do is we go for the graph. Graph, what it indicates is, if I remove, then it becomes very easy. Okay, very good. Now, if you see here, right? So once I had this information, what are the? This is, I think I already explained. This is the one which we have to choose or decide. Then, based on this, we arrive at two-tailed test. Then immediately, what we do is we go for normal distribution. If you observe this entire discussion, nowhere there is a term mentioned normal distribution, right? Have you seen anything like normal distribution? Right? Generally, this is a normal curve. When we use normal curve, it is mentioned. If you see this entire discussion, there is nothing like normal distribution they mentioned. But how we use it or why we use it is because of central limit theorem. Because of central limit theorem allows us to use normal distribution when size of the sample is large. That's the okay, right. Now once we are ready with this approach, two-tailed test, then two-tailed test means you will have one left tail as well as right tail. Next is this alpha is the reason that is the percentage of failure rate, and 95% is the level of confidence that your estimation is perfect. So that means here this 5% comes here and the 95% comes here. Okay? 0.95, right? This is 0.95. The area under the normal curve between these 2 points is 0.95. So what about the 5%? The leftover is 5% because what it is having two tails. Therefore, we have to distribute this equally, here half and here half. Okay. I hope that is clear. Now, next thing what we require is these values. What is the value here? Z value. What is the Z value here? That is how we got this 1.96, right? So that means now if you see here, we know the area under the normal curve up to this point, right? 0.95 plus this alpha by 2. Okay. So this probability we know, right? So next what we have to do is we have to use normal distribution tables to find Z value when the probabilities are given. So if you see here, this is 0.95 plus 0.05 by 2, okay, sum together. That is the probability till this. Then we have to see what is this value. Then we have to go to the distribution table, but we need not go into this because we know the values before. What are the values corresponding? Just try to now. This is something like this. Now, what are the probability that we had? Suppose it is 0.90. Right? Then what is the corresponding Z value? 1.32. 1.32. So we need to verify, check where the probability whatever we have lies here, somewhere here suppose. For some doubts I have definitely will get, I will explain it later regarding this. So we need to see where the probability what we had lies, then take corresponding 1.7. This is here 1.74. So like this we got this 1.96. You verify it and let me know because definitely you have to get some doubts here. Right? So I hope that now from tables this is nothing but 1.96, right? What about this one more boundary? Because it is both are symmetrical. If it is 1.96, obviously the other one has to become minus 1.96. Okay. I hope that at least to some extent this is very clear, right? But I will make it very clear with some more examples. So need not worry. Next comes this calculations. So already we know some Z and Z value. This is the formula. Then values are available. X bar is available. Mu is available. Sigma is available in the problem that is 25. N is available. Everything is available, and we substitute it. After doing this calculation, then we see what is the value. Suppose, as mentioned, suppose if I got 1.3 here, immediately we see where this 1.3 lies here, right here, right? That means accept the null hypothesis. Suppose this is 2.8, right? Suppose after the calculation we got 2.8, immediately we'll take this. Where we find this 2.8, we'll find this 2.8 here, which is nothing but outside region, that is region of rejection. That means this is wrong. Whatever you are claiming is wrong, and what I say is mu is not equal to 400. So this is how we validate the claim null hypothesis, whatever we see. Yeah, is it clear? Then I'll extend it further. One tail test, how to have the graph for one tail test, how to use t distribution. That is not a big deal. I will explain. Is it clear? Or otherwise also no problem. When we take one more example, when we try to find Z values for one tail test, then it becomes very clear. You know how we got 0.18? Where is this 0.18? That is assumption in the previous discussion. I see. Suppose this entire calculation, if you are getting as 1.3, it is not exactly 1.3. Then what is the decision? Suppose this value gives 2.8. What is the decision? Like this, some values randomly I took, not with respect to this problem. I think I have that interpretation. How do we interpret also became very clear, right? Okay. How to come out, interpret the results? Very simple, like as shown here. Once we have this region called as critical region ready, then depending on Z, we'll see where it lies. inside, that is inside the accept region, accept, otherwise reject. Accept null hypothesis, reject null hypothesis means accept the alternate hypothesis. Like this, we interpret the results after doing this Z calculation, T calculation. Two-tail, one-tail I'll explain. Once you just one-tail when depending on the, suppose if I say mu greater than or alternative hypothesis is mu greater than or equal to 400, suppose for the same problem. So then it is one-tail test, mu greater than or equal to 400 only. We are validating only that. So then it becomes one-tail test. Particularly in one-tail also it is more clearly right-tail test. Then our graph looks like, suppose if it is one-tail, it will look like this only, like this. So here our complete 5% comes here. Complete 5% comes here. Because here it is not distributed equally, right? This is 5% and this is 95%. We'll see it. I will go to another example. LOS and LOSC are not the same actually. LOS is the level of confidence. LOS is level of significance. The LOS is alpha, LOC is 1 minus alpha into 100%. That is called as LOC. 0.18 whatever I taken is randomly to understand how the results can be interpreted. Okay, I think I hope that at least we are able to grasp something related to testing of hypothesis. Don't feel that many tests, but nothing is there here. And why we have to consider not equal to, right? Perfect. Why we have to, what is the claim? Claim is mu equal to 400. If it fails, what we say, not equal, it can be less than also, right? The suppose if I say my claim is average life of my product is 2 years, right? Average life of my product is 2 years. And suppose if my assumption is wrong, then it can be greater than 2 or it can be less than 2, right? It can be 1.5 years or it can be 2.5 years, right? So that's why mu is not equal to 400. I think that is the reason where mu equal to 400 is the claim we are proving and mu is not equal to 400 that we are taking as alternative hypothesis. But one important point I want to mention here is some authors, what they do is, some authors, they will fix null hypothesis always as mu equal to. Mu equal to, they always fix as null hypothesis. Whatever the hypothesis mentioned in the problem, they will take as alternative hypothesis. That maybe in next class I will show one example how some authors they do. So for me, what I request you is follow this, whatever null hypothesis assumption is there, take it as null hypothesis, then choose alternative hypothesis accordingly and validate it. That actually one more presentation I will share very clearly with the table one side and how to do the calculation. Right? When I do that, I have the freedom of doing the things. I'll share it. Okay, right. Okay, I think yeah, I hope that this is enough for today. We'll take some more problems. We'll take this problem and discuss. If you want, you can go through the remaining problems also. So that means what is that take home or what is that we learned or we discussed today? One is the estimation. One is sampling distribution. That is mu x bar equal to mu and the sigma square x bar is sigma square by n, that is one point that we had. Second one is central limit theorem. Now you have, I think you might have seen one example, right? This example, whatever we discussing now is because of central limit theorem. Because of central limit theorem, we are able to use the normal distribution. Because there is nowhere mentioned that normal distribution, normal population, some kind of force, nothing mentioned, but still we use it because of central limit theorem. Right? So that's why it is the importance of central limit theorem. Next follows is errors. Type is same, type 1 and type 2 errors. So the probability of happening of occurring type 1 error is our LOS, and other probability of type 2 error is beta. And for mostly this alpha is very important for testing of hypothesis, but beta is also important, and these two gives us to understand the power of the test. So next follows is testing of hypothesis. Particularly, I think I request you to have just a glance how this overview goes like. Right? If you are able to have this printed in mind, saved in mind, then it becomes very easy to solve any problem related to testing of hypothesis. And very simple, right? So any queries? So maybe I will try to share some. This week I will spend some more